What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about changing your genetics permanently. Now, I had a client recently ask me, if I'm doing all this, what do I have to do once I want to maintain, once I get to my goal? I said, well, what got you to the dance is what keeps you there. What got you there keeps you there. And interesting enough, they were like, well, what is the whole point of reverse dieting then? Now, here's the thing. Reverse dieting does not mean that you maintain. Reverse dieting means you gain as little fat as humanly possible. You cannot change your genetics. Now, there's some people out there that will hit their goal and immediately stop doing what they're doing and gain the weight right back. Okay, we're talking fat loss here now. Or even weight gain. If you're doing what you're doing to gain muscle, you stop doing what you're doing, go back to what you're doing before, you're going to lose that muscle. It's just, there's no way around it. Now, is there a way to maintain it indefinitely? Well, yes, but you got to keep doing what you're doing. You got to keep making sure that what you did to get to that point, the training, the cardio, the diet, you have to pay attention to those things. If you can only eat 2,000 calories or 2,500 calories, if you say, well, I'm going to go back to my normal 4,000 calories, what do you think is going to happen? You don't have the metabolism to deal with that. And if you're running into a trainer or a coach or somebody who tells you they can change your metabolism permanently, they're lying. I urge you to go ahead and hire that person, because I'm getting the overflow of people that hire these people and they can't do it because they don't understand. They say, oh, no, we can change your genetics permanently. You'll forever be in shape. Will you be able to maintain? You'll be phenomenal, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, it doesn't work. And next thing you know, Jerry gets the email. Hey, what's going on? This is the situation. To tell you, look, no, you can't change your genetics permanently. Whatever you did to get there is what you're going to have to do permanently. Now, I realize some people are going to have to work harder than others. It's going to be harder for some people than it is going to be for others to maintain that. But there are people out there, and I don't mean that you have to do 4 hours of cardio a day or whatever the case may be, but you're going to have to watch that diet without a doubt for the rest of your life. You cannot slack and add 2,000 calories to your diet just because you don't feel like doing it anymore because it's been so long, and not expect your body to go back in the opposite direction. It does not change permanently, okay? That's like saying if you have blonde hair and you dye your hair black, okay? If you dye it enough, eventually it will stay black. No, if you want black hair, you need to dye your hair because your genetics are to have blonde hair. It's the same thing. You can have your black hair, but you got to continue dyeing it. You can have your leaner body, but you're going to continue doing what you're going to do to get there or to maintain it. And, for some people that can be overwhelming when they think about, I may have to do this for the rest of my life. Well, I don't think that's healthy to have to do this exercise for the rest of my life. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, but if you weighed X amount, in about 5 years, we're going to see how unhealthy that is. That's going to put stress on your organs. It's going to put stress on your heart. I mean, it's going to put stress on everything, including the fact that you're stressing out about the fact that you're gaining the weight back. So there's nothing healthy about that either. So is it more healthy to do exercise? And I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking about 2 hours of cardio and 1,000 calorie diet. I'm talking about the thing needs to be set to get to where you want to be, you need to be, and then maintain. I mean, there's really nothing unhealthy about that. Now, if you're doing a competition diet, no, a competition diet cannot be maintained for the rest of your life. Plain and simple. The intensity can't be maintained. The caloric restriction, the food restriction, the intensity that has to be held, kept up, that stuff is not going to be maintained for the rest of your life. But you also got to understand that by the end of a competition cut, you're so lean that you actually need to gain some fat back. That's where the reverse dieting comes in. Reverse dieting is to get you from being very lean for a competition back to appropriate body fat and not gain too much fat. It's not a zero fat gain. It's a lean mass gain, but it's more to reverse you out of the diet. That's why it's called a reverse diet. It's not just okay, I can reverse out of this and it's unlimited calories. Like I can just keep reverse dieting and add 5,000 calories eventually to my caloric intake, and I'm going to stay just as lean. That doesn't happen, okay? You'll see everybody who does the reverse diet, there's a point where it stops, and they're gaining more fat than they are not gaining fat. And that's the point where you say, okay, that's where my maintenance for this diet is. Now, if I want to be leaner, I need to cut back a little bit. If I don't care about gaining the fat, I can push it up a little bit. But the bottom line is there's that little bit of leeway. But still, each person that does a reverse diet, how many carbs and calories and fats and proteins and stuff you take in, and how little cardio you do or how much cardio you do all depends on your genetics. Now, can you change your genetics with drugs? Yes and no. You can temporarily change your genetics by using drugs. Now, if you did clenbuterol, T3, DNP, whatever these things are, you're going to be able to lose fat by eating more calories. However, just like when you dye your hair, you don't take DNP, clan, and growth hormone and stuff, and all of a sudden now you have a different metabolism for the rest of your life. When you stop taking those stop working. So in essence, you've never really changed your genetics. You've just kind of gone around the whole genetic thing to get to where you want to be. But as soon as you take those drugs out, you go back to where your genetics are. And even then, your genetic response to those drugs are so different from person to person that one person maybe will take one clenbuterol and drop 20 pounds. Another person may have to take clenbuterol, DNP, and T3 and growth hormone and do 2 hours of cardio, and that's their 10 pounds. So it's so different genetically, but you cannot change your genetics permanently. You cannot change who you are, what you're made up of. You can't change your eye color unless you stick a friggin' contact lens in there. There's just some absolutes that there are that you can't change, that you need to accept. Until you accept those, you're going to be pretty upset in the long run, because there's not going to be anything that you can do to have both worlds, where you're eating the amount of food you were when you were fat and kept the physique that you have when you were dieted down. Those two worlds are not, they don't mesh, they don't blend. You're going to live in one or the other, and when you finally realize you have to choose one or the other, that could be a real mind fuck for some people, because they think they're going to have the lean physique and eventually go back to eating the way they were and maintain the lean physique. When they realize that's not going to happen, they get upset. And most of the time they fall off track and they say, fuck it, it's not worth it, I just want to do this. They go back to gaining the fat, but then they're absolutely fucking miserable. So it's like, you were upset because you had to diet, you're miserable because you fucking gained fat. What the fuck? Like, that means you need some therapy somewhere to really nail down what the issues are, because it's not a matter of being lean or fat or heavy or whatever. There's something going on in your head that's not allowing you to be happy at either spot, and you got to figure out what that is. biostraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is a blog, and where it's the you cannot change your genetics bicep, and we're out.